This is Abdul Saad, clinical psychologist at Vital Mind Psychology here in Sydney, Australia. And in today's video, I'm going to be discussing the three centers of human intelligence. And in this video, my aim is to help the viewer to develop a greater knowledge of the self. In fact, psychology originally was a study of the self. That is what psychology means, of the psyche, or in Greek, psyche, which is the soul. So greater self-awareness, greater self-knowledge is one of the primary aims of psychology. And in my conception of psychology, which is dealing with and understanding human beings are biological creatures, yes, but with a psycho-spiritual element. So we are not just purely matter or protoplasm floating around. There is something that is transcendent, that is something that is metaphysical about the human being. And this is something that has been spoken about in all the world's great religious traditions. And although in this video I'm not going to be talking about religion, it is within that ethos of helping to understand ourselves beyond the surface. And in doing that, I'm going to be talking about three centers of intelligence, understanding how as human beings we are equipped, we are naturally equipped with three instinctive centers, or three centers of intelligence that ideally in a well-integrated human being are acting in harmony. And when these are not in harmony, when we are over-relying on one center of intelligence over another, we can get into problems. Before I go any further, thank you to the subscribers, thank you to those that commented, that are commenting on the videos. Please continue to do so, and I hope that the videos continue to be of interest and of value to you, the viewer. So let's discuss these three centers of intelligence. And the three centers of intelligence in the human being are of the head, the heart, and the gut, or the gut, heart, head. I like the gut, heart, head, which is more ascending. So we have a gut center of intelligence, a heart center of intelligence, and a head center of intelligence. And let me describe the characteristics of each one and what it looks like when these centers are imbalanced. So starting with the gut center, or the belly center. The gut center, the belly center, or the instinctual center is that part of our intellectual capacity, of our intelligence. Remember, this isn't a mental intelligence. We're about the gut center. It's more physical. This is the center of intelligence that is to do with direct experience of reality, with a felt sense, with intuition, and with forward action and movement. It is that center of intelligence which allows us to instinctively know things are true, and to instinctively reject those things which are not true. The gut center is also involved in allowing us to assert our needs, to allow us to assert boundaries, to allow us to, in a way, impose boundaries against reality when reality is trying to impose itself on us. So in the instinctive center, or the gut or belly center, there is an immediate felt sense, a felt perception of truth, of reality, of knowing that transcends thinking. Okay, now the gut center, if it is underrepresented, or if it is weakened in a person, will manifest itself in terms of trouble with assertion, trouble with imposing boundaries, trouble with dealing with predatory people. So in my experience, most empaths who are very vulnerable to narcissists have an underdeveloped gut or instinctive center. And they've got an overdeveloped heart center, which will be the next center I'll be talking about. So the gut center, if it's underdeveloped or weakened, makes us more vulnerable to predatory influences in the world, makes us more vulnerable to a loss of our own sense of internal authority. because the gut center is all about internalizing authority and in a sense moving against the world. If the world is trying to impose things on us which are not in our best interest. If the gut center is overrepresented, if someone, for example, is mostly using their gut center all the time and is neglecting the other two centers, and they can also get into trouble. And that trouble will usually manifest as excessive anger, rage, excessive use of authority, resentment, bombasticness, impulsivity, because the instinctive center is not, there's not a lot of thinking going on. There's more this gut feeling and intuition. So if it's underrepresented or overrepresented, both can be bad. So that is the gut center, the instinctive center, or the belly center. And remember, we all have a gut center. It's something innate, we are born with it. But in some of us, it may be underrepresented, in others, overrepresented. For some of us, it may be our go-to center. For others, it might be second or third on the list amongst the three. The second center of human intelligence that we have to be aware of is the heart center. And in the heart center, we're talking about the intelligence of the heart, the intelligence of feeling, the intelligence of interpersonal relationships and intrapersonal relationships. Interpersonal relationships being the relationships between us and others, and intrapersonal relationships being the relationship with ourselves. So in the heart center, the core themes are around knowing others, knowing ourselves, anticipating the needs of others, nurturing others, giving to others, being able to relate to other human beings and have fulfilling relationships, and also have fulfilling, authentic relationships, and also have a fulfilling and authentic relationship with ourselves. If the heart center is underdeveloped, then a person can have difficulties in their relationships. They may be aloof, cold, rigid. They may lack reciprocity. They may lack the capacity to experience the joy and pleasure of authentic human relationships, and also have an impoverished sense of themselves. However, if the heart center is imbalanced in that it's being overexpressed, then the person can get into trouble by being overly concerned with giving to other people and basing what they can give and what they can be to other people, basing their self-esteem on that. So if the heart center is out of balance and it's overexpressed, you can have issues with being too focused on what other people want from you. What is the sort of image that you need to project to get people to like you, and basing your identity around other people and what they think of you. And that's the heart center. The third center of intelligence, as we ascend up, the heart, the head center, the cerebral center, the thinking center, the intellectual center. In the head center, the core themes are around gathering information, analysis, reasoning, rationality, intellectuality. And the head center is concerned with solving problems, with anticipating future events, with minimizing uncertainty. Okay? And if the head center is underexpressed in a person, then we may find that this person, for example, may be impulsive, may have poor planning, may make lots of silly mistakes, may not act in their best interests because their head center is not really in balance, and they're relying more on either their gut or heart center or both to lead their decision making. If, however, the head center is overrepresented in a person, that can also not be good, because an over-representation or an over-reliance on the head center to the exclusion of the heart and gut center can mean that a person can become overly analytical, overly cerebral, to the point of miring themselves in excessive doubts, in skepticism, in being highly indecisive, not being able to reach a conclusion about things, always needing more information, a very heady, very sort of uncertain, anxious sort of person that can't make decisions in life. So they are the three centers of intelligence. Now, according to my studies, we are all born with one dominant center. So we can say that all people on this planet are either predominantly gut people, heart people, or head people. Gut types, heart types, or head types. That is, their main preference is for that center of intelligence that directs the personality, either the gut center, the heart center, or the head center. And what we want to do in achieving psychological and spiritual integration is to be aware of the need to harmonize and to integrate these three centers of intelligence so that they are working harmoniously in coordination with one another and not against one another or to the exclusion of one another. So, for example, if you are a heart person, which most empaths are, what you need to start working on is developing more your instinctive or gut center as well as your head center, right? Because that is how you're going to become more integrated and you're going to be more protected against predatory people such as narcissists, for example, and also to develop a more authentic relationship with yourself, with your own internal sense of authority and autonomy from your gut center versus the much less grounded sense of self, which comes from what do other people think of me, what do I need to give to other people, what's the image I need to project toward other people so that I can gain esteem or that I can be liked. Similarly, for the head person, they often need to work on strengthening their gut center, their instinctive internal sense of authority, because they can spend waste a lot of time analyzing things to death and never reaching a conclusion, being mired in uncertainty and skepticism, and also being disconnected from others because they're so heady, so their heart center is underdeveloped. For gut people, for gut types, there is a core need to develop both the heart and the head center. If the gut center is the dominant center for you, your main go-to center that is driving your personality. Because for the gut person, often, there's this irresistible sense that they are right. They rely on their instincts too much, and often the head center needs to be developed more so they can think about things, reason, they can develop a much more balanced perspective on things and not just jump the gun. They also need usually more of a capacity to work on empathy, understanding other people's perspectives, which is the function of the heart center. So in summary, we have three centers of intelligence, and when we are over-relying on one center, think about a stool with three legs, and we're putting a predominant amount of weight, an inordinate amount of weight on one of the legs, it's going to give way, or it's not going to be as stable. Versus if we have the weight equally distributed over the three legs of the stool, it's going to be much firmer, much more sturdy. So what I would like you to think about from watching this video is, what do you think you might be? Could you be a gut person primarily, a heart person, or a head person? And how could you start working on integrating or harmonizing the three centers? If you're a head person that's very heady, very analytical, how can you start to increase your intelligence in your heart center, for example, and in your gut center, for example? So have a think about those things. Feel free to comment. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you soon, God willing.